Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the new edition of the virtual version of the Through Café. Today, we have a special guest, and I'm going to quickly introduce you to her. And we're going to be able to hear all about her new projects, but also have a discussion about what's going on right now, especially in the artistic context and in the Irish context specifically. Our guest is Felicia Olusonia, and she'll be able to now introduce herself, tell us more about the lockdown, tell us about the projects, and also how you can get involved, how you can attend some of these very, very soon. So, Felicia.
Hi,
Hello.
guys.
How are you doing?
Francesca.
How's life?
It's a lockdown life. It's a lockdown life for us.
Right.
It's
So I think I'll get straight into it then, because when I last saw you, I actually had my ticket to come to see the Talkatives during St. Patrick's weekend.
yeah,
So then slowly, I could see that wasn't going to happen. And then I got my email saying that it was going to be cancelled, like a lot of other things have been cancelled over the last, obviously, couple of months. So tell me more about the Talkatives, because I only discovered it actually in the summer, and it's been growing more and more and more. So please go ahead, tell us.
so Talkatives is a slam competition between poets and rappers. And so we try and get as many poets and rappers as possible and put them into a typical slam setting. So they get to perform all their own poems or raps, no props, no beats, no music, and just to kind of like enjoy the beauty of lyricism, of words. But unfortunately, because of COVID, we had to cancel the one that was going to be under St. Patrick's Festival. We had to cancel our play that was going to be under This Is Pop Baby for Where We Live. It was pretty crap. But the great news is Talkatives is back. It's back for this Sunday on the 31st of May, and we're going to have it in an online venue called the Lock-In, which is incredible. So it has like, I think the guy running the online venue, James Strafford, he has all these ideas, all the ways to make it cool and exciting and professional, even if we're experiencing the show online. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about. And because it's been online as well, we've had the joy of, getting artists that are not just from Ireland as well. That we have a couple of artists from Nigeria, and that's really exciting and wouldn't have been able to be possible if not for the lockdown. So yeah, plus sides.
Yeah, and I suppose what I found about the We Are Griot, well, tell me more then about the name as well. But what I found is that there is a huge diversity in the styles, in the themes that the poets are sharing. And of course, I didn't give an introduction about who you are, so I might let the public discover you as you talk about your projects. But
Yeah.
how did We Are Griot come about?
So basically, We Are Griot is a poetry collective comprising of myself, Dagogo Hart, and Samuel Yakura. And so how we came together was just in the past couple of years, myself and Dagogo Hart have been friends, and we create art together sometimes. And one of the things that we did together was Boy Child, which was a poetry play. It was part of Dublin Fringe Festival 2 years ago. And since then, we were kind of like, hey, maybe we are good at this together. So we came up with We Are Griot, and We Are Griot is basically a call to all the storytellers, all the writers, all the people that create art, not just as a means of living, but also because they feel that this is what they're called to do. This is something that's important to them. And the griot members in the old Nigerian context, and I know within the Yoruba culture as well, griot members were artists that used to bring news and song and all of that to the king and for the king. So I suppose it's a big fancy celebratory name for storyteller, and so together the three of us decided, okay, we're going to power on and do something with this name as a banner. And so we write plays together, we write poetry together, and those are the main things we're doing together. The third member, Samuel Yakura, we found him from our first talkative slam, and we put that on together, and he performed as one of the poets, and we were like, we love him, we're going to keep him. And so that's basically the genesis of We Are Griot.
Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to attend before everything happened.
Yeah.
So what I also found is that there's a lot of, it's fun, and there's a sense of community.
Yeah.
And I think when the audience is there, people are there for the poetry, but also because it's like a home. I felt that you go to and you see the same people, and you kind of know what to expect, but you're also going to be surprised in some way. So, and there's banter. There's definitely a lot of banter, isn't there? Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's your fault. That's you having a laugh.
I love that. Yeah, it's definitely one thing that we love to keep within the fabric of the show. Just myself and the Gogo Heart are the main hosts of the night, and we just basically bring our friendship on stage. We try and be as natural as possible, as friendly as possible, as goofy as possible, and I think being that real and that raw on stage is kind of an not new thing, but it's surprising thing. Mainly because whenever you're on stage with a microphone, people tend to be more serious, tend to be more like descriptive, and but when you get up on the stage and you have a laugh, and sometimes I get on stage with a pint, or get on the stage with a ridiculous joke, it kind of relaxes people. It makes them like, oh yeah, this isn't awkward, especially if they don't feel like they're that into poetry or that into rap. I don't think you need either to be able to enjoy the show, and that's one of my favorite things about it.
I think it's what you're saying. It's really important because it's what happened to me after having been a parent for many years and not having enjoyed a lot of my normal adult life. And I came and I thought, actually, you don't. I felt the same. You're not intensely immersed into a lot of concentration and trying to understand the deep meaning of the poetry, but actually there's so much performance and there's so much fun in it that it's open to everybody. I think even to someone like me who would have been away from a theater or poetry for many years, but having built this community now, and I know it takes time and it takes dedication and it takes, and I know, a lot of advertising and word of mouth and talking to friends and saying, come on board,
Yeah.
And now we're in this new situation where we don't know when people are going to be able to perform and to bring their community together again. How do you feel about, how are you going to maintain this community that you've built over, or have you got ideas of how this could happen?
I think one of the big ideas is to remind them that we're still here. Um, and that tends to be probably the biggest thing, because I feel like what's happening currently on the internet for artists is that struggling to be remembered, like keeping their audience conscious of them as people, even if they're not on stage currently. So like just being able to remind them that you're there, being able to remind them that there's still something for them aside from you being on stage, that you still have something to offer to the community that you have built, and that's very important. It's also partly why I've taken a lot of different approaches during the lockdown as an artist. One being just being more engaging, creating art that's specifically for whoever is receiving it, getting the audience members involved in the creation of art. So those open mic lives are really important to me as well, and just even just being visible, being present. And it's partly also why Talkative is free for the first online slam, just because we're in a crisis, because we're in a lockdown. It's important for us to be socially conscious and to understand the audience that we have built and to take care of them as much as possible. So one of the ways you take care of your audience is not just one of the ways I do definitely preach about taking care of your audience is like in your words and how you relate to them, and if you make them laugh or if you're making them cry with your poetry or your pieces. And another way is like realizing that half our audience are people just like us young people just like us, or even if they're older, they're going through the same crisis and pandemic as we are. And if we can bring them this reminder of joy that they liked when they were able to move around, and then have it free for once and have it enjoyed, and just to kind of like, I just want it to feel like a warm cup of flipping coffee. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just have that reminder feeling and to enjoy it. Yeah.
And I suppose it's always been quite affordable in the sense that
Yeah.
tickets were $5, I think. So
Yeah.
it was always open to a wide enough audience, but at the same time, probably having it not in one location can open up to a whole new range of audiences, people who may not make it to Dublin city centre, people who live outside of Ireland as well. And have you thought of this as a potential of the online medium?
Yeah, definitely. People definitely living outside of Ireland having access to it has been quite interesting already in the backstage scene version of it. Yeah, it's been really interesting, and I like that. Even with the performers, there's two performers like that are based in Nigeria and are going to be able to, be part of the show, and that's really exciting. Just that, because not only because language is fascinating, and not just only the flow of like a topic that would be different, or the theme that they might bring that's different, but just even the flexibility of their tongue when they're speaking, like what the accent sounds like, what the flow of words sound like, if they mix English with something else, like that's exciting. And that's if they're a rapper or a poet, that's two levels of exciting. Like, I'm just excited. I'm excited that the online world opens that stream of accessibility to all kinds of people. And we already were pretty open when we're like, on stage, when we're in Tala or we're in Dublin City or going all the way to a different part of Dublin City. That it was already pretty open, but it's even more open and more accessible online. And one of the things that I've learned from the open mic lives that I do on my Instagram page is that you will have anybody, as long as it's interesting, it's fun, and they want you will have anybody just on your on your Instagram page. So while I was hosting open mic lives, I had an incredible, lovely lesbian lady from India come up and do a couple of poems. I had this person from LA. I had someone from Texas who was a rapper. It was just really weird. I was like, what the hell? I mean, I appreciate, a John from Cabra calling in. That's awesome. But it's even more surprising when a Mayuri from India is calling in. It's really interesting. And I love that space for the online world, if that makes sense.
And you're doing Instagram lives on your Instagram account, which is it under Felispeaks?
Yes, it's under Felispeaks, which is also my stage name.
Yes, so I will put that link under on the comments so people can go onto your Instagram and maybe join in your next live. Is there a date for your next live open mic?
There isn't a date up for my next live yet, but usually I announce it on a Friday. I try to do it maybe every 2 weeks. So Talkatives will be on this Sunday, and very possibly the next open mic live will be the following Friday.
Okay, so people just have to follow you on Instagram, I suppose, to stay up to date and find out. And I watched some of it. My network comes and goes, and I was going to ask you about this live because how it was fascinating to see people were coming from so many different places, and what I found also quite surprising was that people were feeling quite comfortable. So it's almost as if they knew you and they were happy to share it, obviously to the world, but to share it with you. And I wonder how did you feel about that? Like, do you feel the same, that people are very open and they feel that you're not judgmental or you're gonna, you get me?
Yeah, I definitely get you. I think one of the things I try to do is to create a space where they feel like they're hanging out with one of their friends and they feel comfortable. And that I always tell everybody at the beginning of the slam or at the beginning of the open mic that I'm here to be your hype man. That's all I'm here for. I'm not here to give you special duper duper super duper tips. I'm not here to critique your work because this is not the space for it. If you want that session, that could be a completely different thing. But what I want people to do on open mic lives is for expression. Also, just because you don't realize how much it affects your body, your mind, and your thoughts to be in one singular space and to be quite cramped. Even if you can walk around your house and walk around your neighborhood, I'm just thinking about how the pandemic affects me, and I'm thinking about if there are people possibly feeling like that. You don't ever want to feel tight and enclosed. So what I want the open mic live space to be is a place of freedom, of excitement. It's usually why I come on and I'm super, super excited. I'm like, yeah, I want to be a hype man. I want to encourage you. I want you to keep writing. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. And Lord, it can be crap even. And that doesn't actually matter. It really doesn't matter because it's about expression. And in expressing yourself, especially when you do it out loud, people naturally autocorrect. Do you know what I mean? But once you say it out loud, or once you have the expression of 3 minutes of something you've written on a page, in your brain by yourself, you will autocorrect. You will see all the things that you could change, see all the things you can edit, and then that gives you something to journey back into yourself. Does that make sense? So yeah, I find a lot of people are quite comfortable, and I want them to be. I definitely encourage the space, and usually, if I have one or two people of the night that are super nervous, I will stop them dead in their tracks and get them to do a little 5-second meditation and to just and then start. And that's
Yeah.
important for me.
And I think from a mental health point of view, even just realizing, it doesn't have to be perfect. And what we're doing right now is so new, and everything we're doing every day now is totally different from our usual routines. Having meetings from my kitchen is definitely new for me. And, we're every day we're entering a new space that is uncomfortable or different. So actually to have someone on the other end who's supportive, whether that's about your poetry or about expressing yourself, I think it's extremely important. So you're turning into a counselor.
Well, I have a few tricks up my sleeve.
But I mean, poetry in itself, you've started reading, writing from a very young age. Reading as in spending a lot of time, researching and discovering, and writing from a young age. And now you are Felispeaks, and you are an example for a lot of people, I would say, just to pursue your dream of becoming a poet and performing. And you're a lot of things as well as a counselor. You're a poet, a writer, a performer, and also the face of a lot of really important projects that are spanning, incredible range of different styles and themes as well. So in terms of what's going on right now, probably performers are hit really badly because they need people to perform to at times. It's one of those art forms where your audience, and especially in the case of poetry, yes, you can write it and it can sit in a lovely notebook or in a book, but some of what you do really makes an impact on your public. And of course it can go online, but what do you think is happening right now, and what do you think will be happening over the next few months in terms of performance? What are people doing?
I think what a lot of people are doing is one, adjusting to what it means for their careers or for them right now in this timeline. And that can mean like, okay, I need to do a bit more research. Okay, I'm not going outside as much to perform on stage. So it means I have this much time to brush up on this kind of ability, or this much time to and catch up on this. And I think the more positive end for a lot of artists is that now they get to as an artist, you're already quite creative, so you get to brush up on several skills, you get to improve several skills, and then you get to augment around the skills you already have and then suit it specifically for the digital online world. And that's kind of like the space I'm in currently, where I'm readjusting, like, what can I do that's still very me, but that can appeal to the digital world right now since I can't be on stage. So that could mean, okay, I'm going to do more open mic lives. Okay, doing open mic lives means that I'm visible to potential consumers as well as potential investors. Okay, aside from that, it also means that I get to build a relationship with my audience. Okay, so so I basically pick one thing and then expand the possibilities of like progress within it, which is great. And then, so that's one thing. You get to focus on one ability or developing another ability, and it gets to push you into being more creative than you normally would give yourself credit for. Because when you get into a routine of creativity, you kind of get comfortable and you're like, okay, I'm good at this, so I'm sticking to this. Whereas I suppose what the pandemic is doing for a lot of artists is you get to readjust, you get to refine what parts of you can be adjusted for this timeline, which is a great thing in a way. But I also think that the way we're going, it would be very, very difficult to kind of wait for it to just go back to normal, because I don't see life going back to normal. I think life has changed that dramatically that we're all trying to make money online now. We're all trying to be good enough for the online stage, you know? Like even with Dear Ireland, I mean, it was an incredible initiative by Abbey Theatre where they were like, you know what, guys, you write from home, you perform it from home, and we will stick it up online and build the fantasy around it, or the bells and whistles around it. Do you know what I mean? And that is basically what we're all doing right now. It's that we are creating from home, we're writing from home, and we're putting it on the internet. And that's going to be our current reality for a while. We just each individually have to find different ways of making it pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, Dear Ireland, I thought was awesome, as you say. You know, I thought it was a way to, you know, to enjoy something from home at a moment in time when I thought I was never going to get out of the house again. You know, so I thought, okay, this is the closest to what I can enjoy right now, that I want to see. And it was great, but also it was great that it was broadcast by the Abbey Theatre, which was supporting the whole initiative. So probably in a sense, it's interesting that you're talking about the making money online, because for a long time, online work was what you were putting on for free to draw people's attention to a project or to a project or to an initiative. While now, so many people are saying, what about all these live concerts that are free online? What about all these festivals that have gone online for free, when before, you know, it would have been a small income, but still an income, as opposed to everything that is online is automatically free. So it's also a mindset change, not only for the artists, but for the audiences as well, to value what you can see from home. I think it's a massive change in the mindset of audiences and public.
And I think the luxury of like how do I say, you know, the way like the clothing industry obviously moved successfully online. I think the arts industry is going to find its own place online successfully as well. And it wouldn't be the watered down version of it or the mediocre version of it. It would be just as excellent, high quality. As if you can go into Zara to pick out a pair of pants and then trust the Zara website to deliver a pair of pants. I think it would be the same for like seeing Felispeaks on stage versus seeing Felispeaks online. I think we will eventually get to a place where we appreciate the quality of both and the aesthetic of both differently, enough to pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I'm catching you on the spot now, but would I be able to, well, will the world now be able to hear one of your poems performed? And I get out of the stage because I've also realized I've just burned my lunch. And this is part of the live. That's it, I've just burnt my lunch. So you have to save me now. Poetry has to save us both.
Love that.
So
Sure,
I'll get out of the image, and I'll let you.
thank you so much, Francesca. So this piece is called Freedom. I wrote it for a show that myself and the Go-Go Heart put on called See True last year. And so freedom is just basically about the instinctive need to be free, the instinctive need to not feel caged, to not feel like you are boxed up, especially as an artist, especially as a person, or whatever form you take shape in. But this is called the Freedom Poem. Listen here, brother. Listen here real good. What I'm about to tell you would shake loose some rusty chains in your genetic makeup. I need you to make up your body, damn your mind. They already got that. You feel that thump thump of your blood rush? I need you to remember every shape your joints ever took before time straightened your spine. Hear me long, hear me deep, hear me good, hear me with instincts, hear me primitive, hear me with jagged nails and hard soles, hear me with bare claws and leaf underwear, hear me tribal fucking naked. This is for the octopus children. This is for the deep dove, dark dungeon deities living under the sea of sameness, hiding your tentacle talents, ink down their hands and call it arts. This is for the chameleons hidden in their seats. This is for the seductive shapeshifters. This is for the too many to be enough, the jack they deny trade. It is finished. Tick no boxes. Climb outside it. So when you sky rise to its tipping point, let them say the audacity. How dare you be free? This is for the finger licking freedom fallacy. Here it is. See true. Thank you. Thank you so much, Francesca. Thank you, Rua Red. Thank you, Mother Tongues Festival.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd like to remind everybody about the next dates for the talkatives.
Yes,
which is remind us the date again.
So Talkative is this Sunday, the 31st of May. If you go to my page at Felispeaks on Facebook and or Instagram, you'll find the link to pre-register for free just to ensure that you see the show.
And so people can click on the link, register, and they get sent to watch the show live.
Yes.
To a link to watch the show live. And then keep an eye on your page for the any poet out there who would like to perform and make us all cry during your open mic. And I think I have to just thank you so much because
thank you.
I wanted to hear what was going on in your world right now since I last saw you, and we were in a very busy place full of people, and now we've moved into very isolated spaces. So it's good to know that there's I'm leaving with a very hopeful message, feeling that there's people writing beautiful things and ready to perform them in any shape or form that we'll have to live with in the near future. So I'm looking forward to the next talkatives. I'll be there. Yeah. And any other news and updates, keep us posted.
Yes, we'll do. Thank you so much, Francesca.
Thank you. I'd like to finish off by thanking Rua Red for hosting the See-Through Café, which is now happening weekly. And next Monday, we'll have a super special episode, which will be longer and with more people involved. So watch the Rua Red Space Facebook page and website for details about that. It's a bank holiday, so we'll keep you entertained on your bank holiday, wherever you may be. And also, I wanted to thank South Dublin County Council of Creative Ireland for supporting this project, which we hope to continue. And we hope to have more people with the positivity of Felispeaks. So, so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, Feli.